All right, May 27th, Kell Brook versus Errol Spence. The fight is finally signed, and we're going to see it. Best versus the best, or two of the top welterweights in the world definitely squaring off against each other. These are the types of fights that we've been clamoring for, and we've been getting it so far. This has been a great year so far. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Danny Jacobs, Gennady Golovkin. We're going to have Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko. So we got some really good fights coming down the pike. But let's talk about this fight, May 27th. Now, you hear the term athletic thrown around a lot in the sport of boxing. And if you look up athletic in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the definition is stated as such: physically strong, fit, and active, which I think is a real oversimplified definition or explanation of what athletic is. Now, when I think of athletic, obviously I think of physical attributes: being strong, being quick, being fast, being in shape, being able to master your craft or whatever sport that you're in. So that's a way of looking at the term and explaining the term athletic. But to me, it's much more than that. To me, it's hand-eye coordination. And when you look at hand-eye coordination, it's when the eye sees something, transfers that information to the brain, and then the body can react and get those signals from the brain and do what that brain wants it to do pretty quickly and instantaneously. That's a special gift, hand-eye coordination, being able to have the body see something and respond quickly. We've heard Virgil Hunter talk about Andre Ward, saying that he sees things and processes them more quickly than other fighters do. So that's a really, really great, strong, powerful attribute to have if you're a fighter. And you could really point to a handful of fighters that really have that attribute at an excelled, exceptional level. But not only that, when I look at athletic, I think of coordination. I think of balance. I think of body control. And that goes back to being able to process things, seeing something, having your body respond to it quickly, and always doing it fluidly without really having to think about it, doing it instantaneously. So in other words, you slip a punch as a fighter and you already put yourself in position to counter. You're already thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead of your opponent, after he does a specific move or has a specific attack on you. So at this level, when you think of athletic, a lot of fighters have athletic ability, but you have to really dig down deep and look and see which fighters have that special level of athleticism. And I know a lot of people have criticized this fighter in the past, but I think Andre Ward has that special level of athleticism where he can see things happening and he can react to things, and he can be 2 or 3 steps ahead of his opponent. He can position his body in such a manner where he's making a defensive move, but he can transition into an offensive move almost extemporaneously. And that's a great, great gift to have. And I think Errol Spence has a little bit of that. I know people are saying, well, you know what? Everyone's so high on Errol Spence. What has he done? And a lot of people point to the eye test. And, when I look at Errol Spence, I just think, just by watching him box and looking at some of the things he does in the ring, I just think he's an exceptionally talented, gifted fighter. Now, obviously, he still has to prove that, and he'll have the opportunity to prove that on May 27th. And I think he will prove that on May 27th. And here's why. And when we talk about, fighters at this level, and I already mentioned the athletic or athleticism aspect of it, but also, you look at the skills, the overall skill set of fighters. Now, a lot of fighters can do specific things very well or even exceptionally well, and that's enough, being able to do those 1 or 2 things great to carry them through. But at this level, which separates very good from great, is versatility. And that's where I think Errol Spence really excels. Because I think, again, when I talk about fighters having versatility, being able to do more than one thing, not only that, but being effective, in all circumstances and positions in the ring. So being able to fight well from the outside, being able to hold their own from the mid-range, and being able to hold their own on the inside as well. And a lot of fighters are able to do well offensively on the inside, but where they lack, and this is what Andre Ward said about Carl Froch when he was talking about that fight in the Super 6 when he fought Carl Froch. He mentioned, a lot of fighters can fight offensively well on the inside, but a lot of fighters can't defend very well on the inside. And that's what Andre Ward, I think, was able to exploit on all those fighters in the Super 6, where he was able to be, very slick and slippery on the inside, bending at the waist, dipping off to the side, making a little subtle move here or there, and always having his legs up underneath him, and not really putting his silhouette, his from the waist up, was never really straight in front of his opponent. It was always off to the side, so his opponent really couldn't grab and contain him. He was always able to slip up underneath and dig those shots to the body and cut back up over the top with those shots to the head. And that's really a skill that I think Errol Spence has. When he's up close, he really makes himself a compact target, just like Andre Ward was able to do. He's very slick and slippery, bends very well at the waist, has his feet up underneath him so he can generate power after slipping a shot. He can have his feet set up underneath him where he could dig those really powerful shots to the body. And, he really hurts guys on the inside. You see him just really crush guys on the inside with body shots and really instantaneously take their legs away, and they're not able to defend against that. Now, Kell Brook, a really, really talented fighter. A really good jab, really powerful right hand from the outside. But again, that's his claim to fame, his ability to fight very well on the outside. And because his feet are so quick, he's able to really gauge distance very well. So if his opponent kind of rushes him a little bit, his feet are so quick where he can kind of take that half step back, set his feet real quick, and establish that range where he's comfortable. And then he'll be able to throw that 1-2 real quick, boom, boom, because of his speed. So that's why I think Kell Brook is a very talented, gifted fighter as well, because he's got the quick feet, quick hands. But the one area he lacks is the versatility factor. When he's being pressured up close, his first instinct is to try to grab, hold, and freeze the action. And because he is such a big, strong, physically gifted welterweight, he's able to do that against a lot of fighters. With Sean Porter, as good as he is, I think he's a really good fighter. He's a buzzsaw up close. He's a really good offensive fighter, but he doesn't have that upper body movement that Errol Spence has. So he moves his head very subtly from side to side, but he doesn't have that dip to the side, that twisting motion where he could just twist his whole body off to the side and not really have his body from the waist up and from the shoulders to the waist. His body's still straight in front of his opponent, and his head's right there. So if you can't grab his head, you can grab him around the shoulders. Whereas Errol Spence, he'll dip his whole body off to the side. So there's really nothing there to grab. So I don't think Kell Brook is going to be able to really contain and grab him up close when he decides to get up close. And also, another great thing about Errol Spence is he knows just how long to stay in that pocket, and he knows when he has to slide out and reset. And he has the foot speed to be able to do that very effectively. So this is a guy who I think is very powerful, very physically strong, and very quick, and also is really able to get his offense going and be really able to transition from defense to offense quickly and be able to counter and really capitalize on any little mistake that his opponent makes. So the big thing in this fight is, I think if Errol Spence takes this fight to the inside, which I believe he will, and really, operates well in there and really decides that he's going to settle in there, plant his feet and dig those shots to the body and not really be a stable or a stationary target, I should say, on the inside, constantly giving Kell Brook different looks on the inside, constantly making those subtle moves off to the side, bending at the waist, dipping and ducking away so Kell Brook cannot grab or contain him. I think by him doing all those things on the inside, which I believe he will be successful at doing, I think it's going to be a real nightmare for Kell Brook when this fight is taken deep inside the pocket, which I believe Errol Spence is definitely going to try to do in this fight. He's going to definitely try to employ those tactics. So because of Errol Spence's versatility and his ability to fight very well on the inside as well as on the outside, having that quick right jab and being able to take that half step back, lure you in and set his feet real quick and boom, I think he's going to be dangerous from anywhere in that ring, from any position. He's going to be able to really react and be that one step ahead of Kell Brook. As fast as Kell Brook is with his hands and his feet, I just don't think that he's as quick as Errol Spence or as explosive as Errol Spence. And I don't think he processes things as quick as Errol Spence does. Going back to what Virgil Hunter said about Andre Ward, that's the one advantage I think Errol Spence has against these other welterweights, is being able to see things and be one step ahead and being able to anticipate what the opponent's going to do and already have that move in place to counter it, and already, just really instinctively position himself where he's out of harm's way, or he's positioned to elude the offense, but then make his opponent pay and transition quickly back into the his own offense and counter that offensive movement from his opponent. So that's the thing. I see that Kell Brook will try to keep this fight on the inside, but I don't think Errol Spence will allow him to keep it on the outside. I don't think he'll allow him to do that. I think Errol Spence will definitely close the gap. I think he'll go in and out. I think he'll make him pay inside when he gets deep in the pocket. I think he'll make use of that. He'll capitalize on those moments when he's inside. He'll make Kell Brook pay when he's up close, and he'll get right back out and reset. And he'll just be able to do that over and over again. And I think as the fight wears on, I think the body shots coupled up with some of those short, crisp looping left hands and right hooks on the inside, I think that Errol Spence will definitely be able to get Kell Brook out of there. And I know this is a tough fight for Errol Spence on paper. This is his first real big test on paper. But I think the eye test, to me, in my opinion, suggests that he's going to handle Kell Brook. And I look for Errol Spence to stop Kell Brook in about 6 or 7 rounds. I know that's a pretty bold prediction, but that's how highly I think of Errol Spence and his skill set. And also, too, Errol Spence is a big welterweight, too, just like Kell Brook is. He's admittedly said to have walked around at 170 pounds, up around that range, just as Kell Brook has said to have walked around at 170, 175. But the difference here is I think Errol Spence has mastered that weight cut where Kell Brook has not. Kell Brook, in this post-fight press conference, or excuse me, not post-fight press conference, this pre-fight press conference, the most recent press conference they had leading up to this fight to announce the big fight on May 27th, a lot of what he was talking about was, hey, I got a nutritionist. It's hard for me to make welterweight. Everyone in my camp wanted me to go to 154, but I've decided to stay at welterweight. I want to defend my title. I don't want to give up my title. So there's been a great deal of talk about Kell Brook and having, his problems making 147 and how much of a struggle it is and how he has to really kind of discipline himself and not, go downstairs late at night in the kitchen and eat, where, he has a tendency, or he says he has a tendency to want to do those things. Whereas Errol Spence has never complained about having to make weight. He said that he walks around at a heavier weight, but like I said, some fighters, once that fight is signed, they're able to just flip that switch and they're dialed in. Whereas Kell Brook, maybe he's not necessarily dialed in. Maybe he likes to eat. Maybe he has that hard time dieting. Maybe he doesn't mind the training aspect, but he likes to eat the food. He likes to eat those types of foods that are calorie dense or whatever. Whereas Errol Spence has mastered that weight cut, and he's not worried about having to make those sacrifices during camp. Where Kell Brook, already talking about it right now, he seems to have that in the back of his mind. So that's already out there. Whether or not that's going to be an excuse if he loses this fight decisively or not, that remains to be seen. And also, we still don't know if he's fully recovered from that beating that he got from Gennady Golovkin. having that broken orbital bone on the right eye. Is there going to be any residual effect in this fight if Errol Spence lands a real hard left hand on that eye, which he probably may do in this fight? Will it swell up instantly? Will it be a problem in this fight if he's able to land that? I suspect that possibly it could be. So, there's a lot of things working against Kell Brook here. He's going to be, at home here. This fight's going to be over in Great Britain. It's going to be over in the UK. He's going to have the home court advantage. But will that really matter if Errol Spence really takes it to him, like I think he will, and is able to put the hurt on him and take him out? So this is a real interesting fight. It's a fight that I'm really looking forward to. But I really am riding high on Errol Spence in this fight, and I think he's going to take care of business come May 27th. So I think this is going to be a great fight, and I think this is going to be the fight that is going to really open a lot of people's eyes about Errol Spence, and I think this fight will elevate him to the top of the division. And it'll be curious to see if guys like Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia are going to want any part of this guy. All right, guys, till next time. Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. Let me know what you think of this fight. Let me know if you think I'm way off base here. I don't think I am, but again, I always welcome the debate. All right, guys, talk to y'all soon. Peace.